time has come again. The champion must end. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut along and on. Bring it to me. Defend your
Oh, baby girl. Welcome to the DYM podcast. This is one of your hosts. My name is Andy Fiori, along with Dutch Butler himself, Mr. Sean Donnelly. How you doing over there, Shawnee?
Hey, how are you? How's it going out there in Dimwit Nation? How's everybody doing? We're so excited. We're actually getting a little bit, if you're in New York, where we had this crazy heat wave, and today has gotten a little bit better. Man, people were ready to I almost snapped on somebody on the street. They almost hit me with their car, and I almost fucking threw a bottle in their window. And I was like, it was getting to me because I have an AC, but the AC doesn't work that well. Like when it's over a certain level, your AC. What'd you say?
You need the Commando 8.
The Commando 8 has arrived. So we had a bad heat wave, and now we're getting a little bit of a reprieve from that. It's getting better. It's a little bit warm, a little bit cooler outside. Still kind of humid. So I am just glad to be able to not be sweating my balls off immediately while we're doing this.
Yeah, it's a hot one out here. People react like how like Jerry and George during the contest. You know, they're snapping at each other. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
I am so glad to see you. How was your week, my friend? I know you've been watching. You watched hockey playoffs, but you don't have
a lot of hockey.
You don't have a team in the fight, but you still love the sport enough that you're watching.
You know, I love the sport of hockey. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I root for who I hate the least, which. We're down to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Montreal Canadiens against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't love either of the teams, but I hate Tampa Bay the least out of those two.
So, is your number one hated team the Islanders?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty interesting because you still live in New York.
Yeah, but hockey's my number one sport, so therefore the Rangers are my number one team, so their number one rival is the Islanders. So stands to reason, you know. And
being a New Jersey guy, you didn't want to go for the Devils.
Well, I think we've covered this before. It does have something to do with
that's
TV
right. I forgot.
Movies. So
yeah,
it does kind of, I grew up, MSG Network came in on our package. Sports Channel was a premium channel, which the Devils came on.
I forgot the reasoning.
In 1982. So, yeah, I didn't have access to the Devils. So, it really wasn't by choice. That's the long short of it. So, yeah, Tampa Bay beat the Islanders. I was happy to see that. And, I just am watching the finals just to watch the finals. I don't think Montreal stands a chance. They're down 2-0 in the series at the time of this taping. But, it's all right. Tampa Bay is so good. And, people have issue. I don't want to get into a whole technical thing, but they kind of skirted the salary cap in a very weird way where they weren't really breaking any rules because they were following the kind of a rule set in place for long-term injured reserve and stuff like that. They brought a guy back for the playoffs because it doesn't affect the salary cap. And I'm speaking to the 3 Dimwit Nation Islanders fans right now. But people were up in arms about that. They go, these guys cheated the whole time. And they didn't really cheat. They just got creative. But people are up in arms.
They skirted the rules, right? They
really didn't, though, because if you look, they're doing everything by the book. If the rules say you can leave this guy off and then bring him back for the playoffs, which is exactly what they did, then they're not really breaking the rules. I think that people should have a problem with the rules and not the team for finding a way to, yes, I guess skirt would be the correct
While we're on sports right now, Andy, let me ask you a
Yes,
quick
sir.
question. I was at the Comedy Cellar last night, and I think very big football fan, Mike Yard, hilarious dude. He's there at the Cellar on a weekly basis, and I walk in, and Rory Albanese, also a very funny man. I walk in, and they're having a discussion. They go, "Let's ask Sean," and then right away they go into like a sports question. And you know me, I was like, "Oh shit!" I really kind of
look like a sports guy.
I do. I kind of panicked. I was like, I'm like, this might be a technical thing that I just don't know, and I'm going to look like a fucking idiot in front of these guys. It's a whole table of guys, Keith Robinson, all these guys. And the question he asked was, he goes, okay, if you are drafted by an NFL team and you play in one preseason NFL game, but then you're cut before the regular season, can you call yourself a member of that team and say you played for the NFL? My knee-jerk reaction was, yes, you were drafted by the team, you're on the team. And Mike Yard is like, yes, but there's no record of you playing for the team because they don't keep track of the stats of those games. So my question to you was, and then Rory and Keith were like, yes, they agree with me. They're like, you're part of the team. I wanted to ask you, because you're a bigger sports guy than I am, where do you stand on that? Are you part of the team if you get cut right before regular season?
Yeah, you are always going to just have to tell that story. That's always going to be the way, because there's going to be no record of you. And I agree that, yeah, you got drafted and you made it so far, which is an extraordinary accomplishment.
Extraordinary, yeah.
But if you tell your grandkids, you go, Grandpa Dutch played for the Jets in 2009, and they go to the record books, they go, I don't see you. You go, well, I got cut before, week one. But
it sounds made up. It sounds,
There's always going to be an asterisk next to your story. You just have
you're like, they had a record of it. It lost in a fire. You just make up some shit or something.
Yeah.
But
only the most hardcore fans will remember, because that is actually a big thing. And it is, speaking of watching things, it's coming up. The NFL draft now has live attendance, and it's like one of the biggest rated programs for ESPN of the year. People love it. So there will be people who will know you because they're hardcore statisticians. They'll be like, oh yeah, Rashawn Donnelly was Jets 5th round draft pick in 1998.
That's a great point, man. And that's the point. A lot of people know these draft picks. They stick in their memories more than anybody else because it was such a televised, especially now, like you say, it was such a big televised event. They freak out. During COVID, they were home with their families. They got the jersey there. They're all losing their minds when they're picking these teams, whatever it is. So,
God, can you imagine getting that far just 1 week away? You go, hey, sorry, your dreams are dead.
That would suck. But I do think
go ahead.
I think you're part of the team. Because here's the thing. You can't call it you being drafted for the team if it's like, hey, you're not officially part of the team unless you play a regular season game.
Yeah. I'd say keep those pay stubs with the logo on it when you get the paycheck, and that'll prove anything.
But of course, when they asked me the question, immediately, what my answer was Ray Finkel part of the Dolphins? That's what I said. I go, did Finkel count? If Finkel counted, then you can.
Sure. Dude, that's why Hard Knocks is such a great show. But those moments when these kids are getting cut is so hard to watch.
Oh, what is Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks is the long-running HBO series. They basically 24/7 behind the scenes of NFL training camps, and it's a different team every year, and it's great. It's like, how HBO Sports does it? They knock it out of the park, no pun intended. But they get all access, and they are in the room. The cameras are in the room when it goes. I just got a text from coach who wants me to go have a meeting with him, and they show. The head coach is having to be like, hey, man, we really think the world of you, but we're going to have to let you go. And it's just heartbreaking.
God. Do they follow them jump out a window immediately after the just get the whole entire story?
Hard Knocks turns into Faces of Death.
Exactly. Because here's the thing, man. I was never a sports guy. Everybody knows that. If you listen to this podcast, I'm interested at a base level, and I'm interested more for nostalgia than anything else. Hence the Mets hat. Hence the little tiny things I know each year about a couple different sports.
You were always excited about mathematics as a child.
Yes. I would go to the dodecahedron training camp every the Pythagorean theorem fest was the talk of the town each
Yeah, when Shani and I go on road trips, he gives me little problems. He goes, now solve for y.
I root for integers. I root for integers.
Yes.
Anyway, so but I think it takes for the guys who get when you have like that type of personality, that sports type of personality, and you get to a certain point in that world, and then it's just taken away from you. I don't know I have no stats for this, but there's got to be a suicide rate that happens with that, right? There's got to be something.
Not only for that, but I think NFL, because of all the CTE stuff, has the highest suicide rate of any pro sport post NFL career. These guys are just, shooting themselves in the chest because they got hit in the head 25 times a fucking down.
They have to find a life post NFL. I watch. Yeah. Shark Tank is my sports. If you get a deal, you've won the Super Bowl of Shark Tank. And I watched so much Shark Tank a couple of different times. They've had ex-NFL players on, and they're like, well, played for a few years with the Rams, had to figure out what to do afterwards, took my money from football and turned it into this ribs business. One guy had a ribs business, like whatever it was. So it's so funny how like that's the part of like big professional things like show business or sports that people don't want to hear about, the middle class aspect of it, where you're like, hey, it was taken away from you pretty quick. Hey, you were successful for a couple of years and then it kind of fell off, like, or you were able to play the couple of exhibition games, then you had to figure out something else to do. Like, that must be so hard if your whole life is football, and then I don't know, they're like, you're not a football player. Like you've been 20 years from Pee Wee League to now. They've been training you to be a pro, and then now it's like, okay, now go be an insurance salesman or something like that.
Right. I certainly didn't study in college. I went there, but football players obviously have no other skills.
Exactly. For the most part,
Ballers was all about. I just watched that whole series. It was all about life after the NFL for these guys. So yeah, and like other sports, that probably has the shortest lifespan of careers.
Football.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Baseball. What's the longest? Baseball.
I would say baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, baseball is probably the least
long,
taxing on the body. Hockey.
Besides golf. Golf's pretty long. But it's not contact. It's not contact.
Like golf or bowling,
Golf or bowling. Bowling, you start when you are retired. Like those bowling guys, they just they look like they're like
talk about a dream for the cool breeze.
They should just throw, like, they're like, if bowlers are like, we're professional athletes, like they should just throw them into an NFL training camp to see how far professional bowlers would get.
Yeah. They'd make it to the buffet. That's like Kramer. His dream is to be on the senior PGA Tour. You go, Jay, that's the dream, buddy. I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld. I'm coming in real hot and heavy.
Hot and heavy. That's
careful on that cord, baby, over there.
What'd you say?
You're clicking and clacking with that cord.
Oh, it's going? Shoot. All right. Yeah. How about now?
Now you're good. It's when you get that Sean move around, I got
the ADD back and forth that I got going.
You're rocking like an autistic kid over there. Let me ask you this. I noticed your name was Dutch Butler this weekend.
It's because of the thing that I watched.
Okay, all right.
So it's after Gerard Butler, who I think is a fine movie actor. I think he's a fine movie actor.
He but I'll tailed off lately.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons I don't know if it's just the type of movies he was making. Maybe they're not as like wanted by the public anymore. But I watched this thing on Netflix, or was it HBO Max or something, that was like popular movies, and I was like, all right. And it was a movie called Greenland. Have you heard of this movie?
No, I have not.
Who probably the best unintentional comedy of 2020.
Oh no.
It was a disaster movie. So it was like a comet hitting the earth movie.
Okay.
And the script was so bad. It was like, the script is so bad. You know who's in it? The girlfriend from Deadpool, who is like so gorgeous. I forget her name. She was also in
she's in
Homeland. She plays the wife. Yeah.
Yamahama.
Yamahama's right.
I love her, whatever her name is. Yeah, she's been in a few things, and every time you just want to run to the bathroom.
Oh my God. Exactly. And brush your teeth, right?
And a cold shower.
So anyway, So I watched this movie and I'm like, oh, maybe it's like fun action movie. Gerard Butler's fun to watch. Like, him and but he's in a lot of bad movies. Like he's in Law Abiding Citizen, but that's a fun bad movie.
That's a fun bad movie. Yeah.
Yeah. This one was like Law Abiding Citizen was like, I'm taking this ride. This was let me off with this stop here. This was like you're watching it going, I shouldn't even be watching this, but it's so bad. I want to see what they're going to do with it, how they're going to get, whatever, what point they're going to get to.
Basically, those Has Fallen movies too. Like,
yes.
All, like,
well, same director.
Whatever has fallen.
Yes. Olympus Has Fallen and all that. Yeah. Right. And here's this. Okay, so there it is. There you go. That's them just watching the comment about the hit them. It's a poster of the kid. And then the kid, they get. So it's a family. It's an estranged husband with his wife and the kid, and you see the tension between them in the opening part of the movie, and then he gets over there, and already it's in the action that like, hey, this comet is going to breeze by Earth, but they've lied to the public. The real truth is that pieces of this thing is going to hit Earth and cause like destruction, and then they find out that it's going to cause extinction level destruction. But because Gerard Butler is a structural engineer, he would be needed for the future. So he gets the only cool part was
this is the fucking plot of the Simpsons episode Bart's Comet. It's the same exact fucking plot.
That was a better movie than this fucking movie.
Of course, that's a genius episode. But they all are in Flanders' fucking bomb shelter going, okay, so the people we need for the future are, and they start making the list.
Yeah,
same
and
fucking plot.
Also got one of my favorite Simpsons lines of all time when he goes at the end, somewhere in the middle of the episode, he went with the comet. Homer goes, "Don't worry, it'll burn up in our atmosphere and down to the size of nothing more than a chihuahua's head." And then the comet comes down, burns up in the atmosphere. It lands. It's a little ball. A chihuahua comes over, goes, arr, arr, and then runs away. And then Bart goes, you know what's even scarier? Dad was right. And then Homer goes, I know, kids. I'm scared too.
That episode is a classic. It introduces us to the nerd group email cosign database. And then Lisa just goes, and I'm Lisa. Your name will be Cosmos. Hi, Cosmos. There it is, Mikey. Buster Palm, quick on the keys.
There it is, Buster Palm. There it is, Chihuahua.
Great episode because it involves all the townspeople. I love a big townspeople episode. Just everybody in Flanders's bomb shelter is such. When they're just playing the barnyard animal noise guessing game, and is just so funny. And then Homer saying the one person we won't need is Flanders, and then apologizing. He's like, the one thing we won't need in the future is left-handed stories. He goes, I'm so sorry. We all know Flanders. He goes, I'm really sorry. He's looking his kid directly in the face. It's great classic episode. I will always remember this episode, not to get too blue and hot and steamy here, but it's hot outside. So let's get a little sensual. I was getting intimate with a lady in college, my senior year of college. And as you know, I think I've told this on the pod before, all through high school, I used to VHS videotape The Simpsons reruns.
Yes.
And like with my remote, and I'd hit stop at the commercials and I'd have to time it and hit record again. So I self-edited the commercials out. So I just had like a shoebox filled of these 10 videotapes of the Simpsons episodes, which we didn't have cable in college. It was just we lived in an off campus. So I'd play these whenever I just wanted to fall asleep to whatever. So I had the Bart's Comet episode on in the background while a young lady was having her way with the old Cool Breeze over here. And I remember like laying back and hearing one of the jokes and being like, and she's like, what's so funny? I'm like, no, nothing. Not you. Go back. Shut up.
You can't compete.
Do you have, that's a good topic. I could do a couple where look at that group. Lisa, there's a database with the red glasses. I couldn't name them all, but cosign, email.
One of them is supposed to be like, it's Pat from Saturday Night Live.
They're ham, email, cosign, report card, database, and Lisa.
It's so
Super
funny.
Friends.
We are the Super Friends. Ham, because I enjoy ham radios. Show is so fucking brilliant.
You mean, is there anything I remember hooking up to with something in the background?
Like having a little intimate moment and having your attention be taken away from something playing in the background. Because I was with my college girlfriend. Apparently, I watch a lot of college sex TV. I was at my college girlfriend's parents' house, and PCU was on in the background, and we were literally having sex in like her den. And there's that line when what's Gary Busey's kid's name?
And Jake Busey.
Jake Busey. He plays the red. He plays Mersh. And he's just like, hey man, we never made it to the Funkadelic show. He's like, Mersh, you gotta lay off the pipe, man. Clinton's playing right here. And at that moment, Jake Busey looks over. He looks at the stage. He looks back. He goes, marvelous.
Marvelous.
And marvelous was always such a funny word to me. I literally burst out laughing while I was having sex with my girlfriend. Because I gotta start. Marvelous is an underused word.
Marvelous is a great word.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember is I think I was trying to get this girl to watch Goodfellas one time when I was in my 20s, and we're watching Goodfellas at a house, and she wanted to make out, and I just kept watching Goodfellas, and she got really mad at me, and I don't think she kicked me out, but she was like threatening to kick me out of her house.
No, I'm sorry, sweetie. It's Martin Scorsese masterpiece. I've made out before. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, there he is.
Marvelous.
I wish you could hear it.
but that same girl, I remember it more because we were watching. I remember like the first time watching a movie, and she smelled like popcorn. This girl.
Wow. I mean, no wonder you hooked up with her.
How about that? That's a good question.
He's aphrodisiac. They always say oysters. Yeah, just a good scent of a movie popcorn.
Like, yeah, she's cute, but she smells like hamburger. She's like a side of beef. How about that? What's the best smell that you like? The best smell that if you smell it today, it reminds you of somebody from the past, like immediately.
I couldn't name them. I don't know the names of the perfumes. But they say scent is the most triggers the most memories, and there are a few girls. If I smelled their certain odor, if you will, it'll bring me right back to that
same here.
Person.
I had the same thing. I also have it with like other things. Like the other day, they were like working on the asphalt somewhere, and they had the trucks were like laying it down. And the minute I smelt it, I thought of I see a suburban.
Jenna Robinson, 1994. Smelled the exact same way.
No, I'm just remembering like riding my bike. Like I remember like the smell, the tar smell or whatever you want to call it, like the asphalt smell. Fresh, like burning asphalt, summertime, riding your bike in the suburbs. It took me right back to like a moment of me on my bike.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, back to this thing. So this movie was just like there's movies that are like good, bad. This is like on the borderline between just plain bad and good, bad, because there was a lot of it that was just nonsense, but you wanted to watch it more and more because you're like, I want to watch how bad.
Right,
like half the movie is this them running around trying to find each other. Like it's just them. They get separated for this bullshit reason where
it's just a compilation of other things. It's like War of the Worlds, Bart's Comet,
and also they're trying to make the characters more interesting by having the kid have type 1 diabetes, right?
Well, it's not that big a deal.
It's not that big a deal. And then they get to like they get picked for this like government program thing where they're saving certain people so they can help the future. And they get there, and then she goes, my husband, she goes, he just went to get my son's medicine. They're like, what medicine? What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't
Baby Ruth.
So they're like, they get rid of the kid because he has an illness, because the future, they don't want any genetically, they don't want any type 1 diabetes.
Bars and he's fine.
That's what I said. I'm like,
future is this?
You're in the government program. You don't think they'll have insulin waiting for you?
It's like the most common thing.
So that's like problem one.
Scientists sitting around. You don't think one of them's got a type 2? Come on.
So they get separated because of that. And then there's a scene where they get helped, quote unquote. Every one of these movies has something like this. The couple that seems nice for about about 15 minutes. And the husband of the couple was Roy from The Office.
Motive.
The Roy from The Office, the guy that was in Mayor of Easttown. Well, yeah. He plays the dad in this car, and then he starts to realize, he goes, man, like you see him get more and more evil as they're driving. He goes, I can't believe they turned away your kid with a face like that. I'm like, is he going to molest the kid as well as like take his bracelet to get into this government program thing? So they steal the kid. They kick the mom out of the car and they steal the kid. And then you're thinking there's going to be this big showdown where the mom and the dad reunite and they go get the kid back from this couple, which would have been way more fun. But the kid, they just try to get into one of these planes that's saving people with the kid. And then the kid's like, they're not my parents. And they just arrest them immediately. So the thing gets resolved in like 5 minutes. It's so stupid.
Blabbermouth kid.
So then out of nowhere, the whole, like the couple, they mentioned the couple like almost divorcing in the beginning of the movie. And then out of nowhere, the mom's like, she's trying to text the dad and like, I'm going to go to my dad's, like the kid's grandpa. I'm going to go to his house. So they have the worst editing. The dad, Gerard Butler, just breaks into somebody's house that already left their house because of the apocalypse. He gets their keys, leaves them a note that I'll bring back your car, which isn't happening. Tells them that. Then they show him driving for 30 seconds, and then he's
Armageddon or not. It's still nice to have manners. I'll say that.
It's true. But they show him driving for 5 seconds, and he's at the dad's house. He's just at like wherever he was doing. He just got to the dad. He was like around the corner from the dad's house.
Yeah.
Whatever
Final
it was.
Season Game of Thrones travel.
Exactly. So he walks in, and you don't know it's such a short trip. You don't even know that it's the dad's house. So the dad is just sitting there with like 3 of his friends. So you're just like, are these guys who just are squatting at this house? Like, where is he? Like, what is going on? And then the dad gets in his face right away about how he treated his daughter. And you're like, but you never set this part of the movie up. Like, you don't know that dad doesn't like Gerard Butler. It's just really dumb, really fucking dumb. So
sounds like a pass for the kid. It's a
pass. It should be a big pass. The thing ends, of course, they make it to Greenland. That's why it's called that, because that's where the bunkers are. They were the bunkers that were set up in the Cold War to save humanity from nuclear bombs. They're using them for the future of the human race. So they show them in the bunkers. They don't know if the thing's going to destroy the bunkers. It doesn't. And 9 months later, they get out. Everything's destroyed. But they show them smiling and birds chirping. And like
the end of 28 days later. I mean, how many movies are they going to rip off? Holy hell.
It was bad, man. It was bad. It was a bad apocalypse movie.
Jesus Christ. Gerard fucking Butler, huh?
But I was like audibly laughing during the movie. I was like, I couldn't believe how like it was just so fucking bad. So bad.
You put that other actress in there. I'd watch the whole thing too, just to get a glimpse of her.
Well, that was the goal there. I was just excited to see her.
Yeah. I rewatched something and I realized it's just a fun movie. It's just a good, solid rewatch. Unstoppable. Have you ever seen it? The runaway train?
I did. It's fun. It's a fun one.
It's good. It's fun. I've seen the whole thing before. I know what happens, but it moves well. It's got a great cast and it's just a fun, great little hero story. Denzel, Chris Pine.
That's an example. Chris Pine and Denzel.
Dawson, TJ Miller.
And I think it's Tony Scott. Tony Scott did it.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those movies that when I can't believe it got greenlit because they're like, so it's just a train that and Ethan Suplee is the guy who fucks up. Of course, they have the big fat guy mess up.
I know.
And
Thanks a lot for that.
He lets the train go, and then it just is unstoppable. Like it seems like. Even if you look at the poster, look up the poster for Unstoppable. It looks like a fake movie that people are pitching in a real movie. Like it looks like they're like pitching Unstoppable, but it's like a joke about a runaway train. Because trains are an old timey thing, whatever it is. So, but it's actually a really quality, fun, cool. It's almost like a take. It's like a take on Speed, but like a different take on it. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so you rewatched it. That's what that is also, dude. That's a flip test, a lazy Saturday. I'm gonna watch this and just veg out.
Exactly what it was.
I can check my phone when I need to. I can stop it when I need to.
Saturday. Yeah, you would have loved it. There was a commercial every 8 minutes, and it's exactly what I'm pretty sure it was. I was just like killing time before I had to go out and do spots, and it had that perfect lead in where I was like, all right, 6 o'clock, perfect. The movie's going to end. I hop in the shower and I hit the town. It was perfect.
They should just keep doing movies, runaway movies like that about different, like newer forms of transportation. Like they're like city bike. It's a city bike with a mind of its own. Like they just, just keep going. Uber,
Vespa.
Like, yeah, just Vespa. But then, like, the movie's 3 minutes long because they're like, yeah, it's just a Vespa. We'll just wait till it.
And you're not even far off because they did that. I don't know the name of it, but it was like a messenger bike thriller a few years ago.
Oh, wait, was that the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
I never saw it. I think that's right. I think that's right.
I saw that. That was like bike messenger thriller, but there wasn't a runaway bike messenger. It was like he got caught in like intrigue or something like that. Whatever.
He was holding on to certain, materials that other bad guys wanted, and he had to deliver them or something.
That would actually be a great plot to have a bike messenger serial killer. That'd actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of creepy because half those guys are assholes anyway. The amount of times that you by accident, your foot's in a bike lane and they go, move. Yeah. Oh, it's so frustrating. Some guy did that. It was actually pretty funny. I'm downtown. There's a bike lane. I'm not even near it.
Couple run-ins myself.
Yeah, same here. And I'm not the one in it, but there's like a 10-year-old kid in the way who's like walking across the street. And he goes, out of the way. Right. And the guy's coming down, and there's some old guy, probably like 7 years old, next to the city bikes. He's like getting a city bike for himself, and he goes, fuck you. Like just under his breath. He just goes, fuck you. But like the bike messenger wasn't even talking to him. Oh, there it is. Premium Rush. Yeah, I saw this thing. Yeah, it's got the guy from the Daily Show's in it too. I don't know if he's Indian, but Middle Eastern guy from or Indian, Asif Manvi. Yeah, who is a terrible actor. Terrible actor.
Oh, he was good.
Oh, did you really? I didn't think so. I don't.
Well, maybe not that. I
think he acts like he does his Daily Show segments.
I always enjoyed him when he was with Jon Stewart in the Daily Show. He's
a funny guy. I'm just saying. In this, I was like. He treated it like the grizzled captain from like a Beverly Hills Cop, but he's like the head of the bike messengers. Like he was every time Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes back in, he's like, you were supposed to be there by 2. I'm going to take your badge. Like it was just like, just awful.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of why haven't there been more like UPS serial killer, like delivery guy serial. You think they'd have access to people's, maybe I'm just not in with the serial killer stats, but you'd got to think there'd be one UPS, FedEx delivery guy, real life serial killer, or we could write this movie this week.
I think we need to write the Segway serial killer. I think that would be
Segway serial
killer. The tagline is he just has to figure out how to use it, and then he'll start killing people. Like he just, it's just like I would be so wouldn't be able to use one of those things. I feel like he'd be like, all right, just wait right there, wait there. Like he's just
he almost got away with it, but he couldn't figure out how. He's just going back and forth on the fucking thing. I could never ride those things either. I just end up going back and forth on the fucking thing, and then it tip over like a fat fucking top.
They just catch him. Like the cops would just show up, and he's like, "I can't get this thing going." They're like, "The cops."
We let him go because we just felt too bad for him.
Like we made him a bet. If you can get out of here on the Segway, we won't arrest you for that murder.
The Segway serial killer.
The Segway serial killer would be a great movie. He'd be like the corniest serial killer around. Let him. What'd you say, Mike? What'd you say?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, to answer Andy's question, most delivery drivers and long haul truckers it is very common for them to do that in terms of serial killers, but they're more across country, not within city.
That makes sense.
Oh, so they're killing people. So it's like truck driver serial killer. There's a lot of truck drivers.
There hasn't been a really famous one. Like you hear about Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, or you hear about the Son of Sam. You'd think you'd hear about the semi tractor trailer terror.
Well,
Be
they
like one
did.
famous guy.
Who's the woman from Monster with Charlize Theron?
That's right. Yeah.
I think she was a truck driver.
Blue collar or something.
I want to hear about the ice cream truck driver killer. I want to hear about the guy who drives an ice cream truck. That was Dexter.
Kid, urban myth where you'd go, that's also Spawn. The ice
is
cream
it?
man.
I never saw Spawn.
One of the worst comic book movies of all. They could have done such a what should have been. Yeah, John
Leguizamo.
And he's like a child molesting ice cream man.
Yeah, that movie bombed, huh?
It's so bad, and it was such a cool comic. Such a cool comic.
That was like the first time, from what I remember. That's around the time I was into comics, so I remember Todd McFarlane was doing Spider-Man, and he did the best looking Spider-Mans, and then he started that. I think he started like Image Comics, right? And then he started Spawn, right?
Yeah,
Spawn was his idea. Yeah. But then the movie died. Yeah,
my dumb friend Chris, I was the same, starting to get into comic books, and he goes, "This is the next generation. This is the next thing. Collect all these right now. These will be worth millions one day." So I have like 5 of each of like the first 5 issues of Spawn.
You ever look them up?
They're worth pennies.
There's a lot of that.
I'm like, this was his 401k,
That's like my mom when she was like, "I got you the pets.com puppet, but you can't open it. You just have to put it in your closet. It's going to be worth a lot of money." Remember the pets.com bubble thing when it's like when it was crashing, and then they must have had it in a store, and Michael Ian Black was the voice. I used to love those commercials. Yeah. And then she was like, "Save it though." And I was like, I think I was like 13, and I'm like, well, I'm still a kid. I still want to open it and like mess with it. And I think I didn't for a long time. And then finally at some point I was like, this thing's not worth shit. And I just opened it up and just fucked around with it, and then probably chucked it out, whatever.
So issue number 1, May 92, cover price $195. Great cover. I'm bringing it. Current value $30.
Oh, that's actually not that bad.
So times 5. Yeah, I've made made some money.
$30. I was expecting it to be like worth $1.90, like a 5 cents less than the cover price, whatever it is. That's actually not that bad. $30. That can get you a couple dinners.
I have the 1984 OPC complete set, which has a mint condition Mario Lemieux rookie card in it, which is super rare and is worth a couple grand, I think.
Really?
Yeah. In my mom's house. I have it. And I always want to go back and get it graded, because it's like the top grade. It's been in a plastic shield since I bought it in like the early 90s. So if it's got like the highest grade, I think it's probably worth like 15 grand or something like that.
Really, dude?
Yeah, it's like because the company doesn't exist anymore. That's all these collected. It's all just the rarest. It's all rare. That's how the prices skyrocket.
You should look it up. You should look it up and see what it is.
Yeah, I think it depends. It all depends on the quality of the card. Like,
but you have it, but nobody's touched it in 25 years.
Nobody's touched it, and I also haven't seen it in a while. And Marianne swears that it's all safely put in the attic, but I don't know. That's the card. There it is, right there. It's not a very exciting card, but that's OPC. That's Mario Lemieux, 1984. I have it in that exact plastic case. That is exactly what mine would look like.
If you guys can look it up, I'm so curious. What's a mint condition OPC Mario Lemieux? I would love to find out what that is. If you can
say like 15 grand,
15,000. Wow.
I'm gonna put it.
I gotta be honest.
On a horse.
You're gonna buy a horse.
I got a beautiful Palomino.
Oh, well, speaking of that, which I got to Sopranos in my head.
Serial killer.
A weird segue from serial killer. Speaking of horses, I was thinking of Pyomai. Let's talk. I'm guessing you must have watched the trailer.
I sure have.
I've watched it a few times at this point. The Many Saints of Newark trailer. And it's called Many Saints of Newark, a Soprano story, which I didn't think was the original title.
Gandolfini's kid.
With Gandolfini's kid, who looks, it's, come on, man. It looks just like him. From now, the things I've heard about this movie when it's being filmed is that he's good. He's just like his dad, like not that like doing an impression of Tony Soprano, but he gets acting, like he understands it.
He's been good in the other stuff I've seen him in.
So the trailer, Andy, what was your impression? Do you think it looks good?
I hate saying this about trailers because trailers always have a way of misleading you.
Yes,
but it
they
looks
do.
a little corny to me on first watch.
Well, you wonder. So my friend Chris Conway, who I don't know if you know Chris,
I don't
but
know.
what's up?
Double C? I don't know if I know.
Double C. He was asking me. He goes, "What do you think of it?" I go, "I dig it after like the second or third watch."
Yeah,
right?
I only watched it once.
So, but one of the great points he brought up is he goes like, the only thing is from the trailer, I'm hoping it's as subtle as the show was, but I don't know if they can do that because it's a movie. When they do a movie, they have to hit harder. Things have to be broader. Also, if they're like doubling down on the nostalgia of this thing. So I think it's a trailer mishap that it looks that like Welcome to Sopranos, like that kind of thing. So
yeah, I'm hoping.
I think the actual movie will read like just a movie.
Yes, and that's also why I didn't watch the trailer more than once, because I also just know I just want to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I don't really want to see too much of the stuff and have my opinion dissuade in any way. So movies like that, I like to go in fresh, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Death
I
Note's a hell of a
agree.
picture.
I think it would. Wow, you have it like locked in. You're like
even my name this week. I go Moses. Smell the roses.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I there's no way I'm not going to see it. Like it's
Yeah, of course.
That's why it's smart them calling it a Soprano story, because you probably will have people that don't realize it's a Sopranos movie because people don't pay attention to pop culture as much as guys in their 40s who do stand-up comedy. But the other thing I wanted to mention is I was seeing a lot of articles and headlines about, Tarantino is giving a lot of interviews because he came in with a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novel, which apparently expands on the Bruce Lee fight scene. They asked him about the criticism he got from people about saying that Bruce Lee was like a shithead or whatever. And he goes, besides Bruce Lee's family, his sister, everybody else can suck my dick. Like,
good.
Tarantino is almost like the South Park guys. He does not give a shit.
That's great.
He doesn't care that guy at all. Anyway, the other thing that was brought up is, and I'm not going to say either way, apparently in the novel, because I did read the articles, I found out which is true. They tell you if Cliff Booth actually killed his wife, and like straight up killed his wife on that boat with the shark gun. They say yes or no. Either way, I'm not going to tell which one it is, but
it was pretty much implied. Yeah.
It is
in a very humorous way,
but it also is done as like it's really cool, the idea that it's a rumor, and it would have been so funny if the story, because Tarantino does that a lot, where like there's a story that's not shown where like he puts it in her head but doesn't do anything. Like if they were to extend that scene and then he goes up behind her and then does nothing and then just they get divorced or she dies, slips on a whatever. That's normally how those things would go.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that he's bringing up that. And one of the things I mentioned to you that I wanted to bring up was the fact that I don't know if Steve Buscemi was just asked because Tarantino's in the news, or this is just on my news feed because I was looking up the Tarantino stuff. Apparently, Buscemi was asked about. He brought up his ideas of what happened to Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs, and what he wants to be the case. Now, Tarantino, I don't think ever confirmed this, but you have to wonder because it's too on the nose for it not to be a thing. Buscemi. So for those of you, what I'm referring to, which all of you shouldn't know, everybody knows Reservoir Dogs. At the end, I am a big proponent. We talked about it on the show. Yeah, I think you don't know what happened to Mr. Pink. If you don't see his dead body, you don't know what happened. But a lot of people think he's dead because they hear the shots.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean anything.
Shoot a whole movie.
Exactly, and he got away from the robbery, and they were shooting at him. So anyway, the theory is Buscemi's theory is that Mr. Pink gets away and has to go into hiding, and in poetic justice style of Tarantino, that is him in the Pulp Fiction scene when they're at Jack Rabbit Slim's as the Buddy Holly waiter, which would make it perfect poetic justice because he doesn't tip and he's an asshole. And there he is. So the fact, I can't imagine, just like the other thing that I brought up a while ago about Reservoir Dogs, about Mr. Orange not being the rat in that diner scene. There's no way Tarantino didn't do that on purpose and he just never talked about it, or he was never asked about it. Because a lot of these guys,
there's not a connection, it's still a funny character connection.
Oh, it's
universe
great.
connection of Tarantino, just like
because we know it's the
guy
same
who-
universe.
yeah.
The fact that there was going to be a movie, the Vega brothers, with Vincent Vega and Vic Vega, that was going to be a movie means that Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs takes place in the same world. And I think a lot of whatever you see also Once Upon a Time
crossover too.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does too, because they have Red Apple cigarettes, and also they have another one. Also,
a lot of stuff. Sure.
All of that. A lot of the movies. The one with why can't I always think of it? The one in the fucking Old West one. What's the name of what? Hateful Eight. One of the people is a relative of a character from the future of either.
I
in
believe
Pulp Fiction
there's a
or
Hateful Eight Django connection too.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Characters crosses.
I'm sure there is. So this is very possible. This is just the same.
Yeah.
Same character. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Buscemi has been in more of my favorite movies than probably any one actor.
Oh yeah, he's in a ton of them.
Reservoir, Pulp Fiction, Lebowski, fucking. I can't think of any more off the top of my head.
Fargo.
Yeah. I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
Well, that's why I was thinking that maybe that is these guys. These do this stuff on purpose because apparently
he's from Sopranos.
Yeah, the shut the fuck up Donnie from Big Lebowski was because his character wouldn't stop talking in Fargo.
Yeah.
I've heard that too as well. There we go. Quentin Tarantino characters that
Billy
are actually.
Madison.
Oh, here we go. Oh, now. Oh, damn it. What does it say? Django and Broomhilda von John Shaft and John Shaft. Oh, they're not that, but John Shaft isn't in a Tarantino movie.
That's not the one I had in mind either.
Gerald and
super side.
Who's
character.
Gerald? Oh, Gerald and Marvin Nash.
Oh wait. Can we go through this whole list?
Yeah, can we go down? Can you read
12 out of 12, 11. Gerald and Marvin Nash. That's great.
Who's Gerald? The from the sheriff from
in what do you call it? Reservoir Dogs.
The other
from Dusk Till Dawn.
Natural Born Killers.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow, that's great. And here we go. Lawrence and Jimmy Dimmick. I didn't know that.
So, Mr.
Oh, that's crazy. So Harvey Keitel and Reservoir Dogs, Larry and Jimmy with the coffee and Pulp Fiction are related. They have the same last name. I had no idea.
You got this gourmet shit.
Wow, this is great.
This is
and then
Captain Coons and Crazy
Craig Coons. Oh, from okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. That's Inglourious Bastards and then Hateful Eight.
Yep. Your father's watch.
Seymour and Jack Scagnetti. I knew about this one.
We knew that one.
Yeah, Natural Born Killers and then he's not even shown in the other movie. Seymour Scagnetti. He's mentioned in Reservoir Dogs. The Maynards. Who are the Maynards? Relationship, great grandfather and great grandson.
The guy who runs is Zed's accomplice in Pulp Fiction.
Maynard.
Sodomites.
Yeah.
King, Paula Schultz.
Dr. King.
Okay, that's a good one. Christoph Waltz and
the fake. Yeah, and then the
his wife.
That's what they're saying it is. Oh, that's
his wife is where what's her name? Uma Thurman gets buried. Yeah.
Oh,
that's really
wow.
cool.
I didn't know. That's a big one. That's a great one. Wow.
All right,
that's
keep going.
So cool.
I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl right now.
Earl and Edgar McGraw.
McGraw.
That makes. I figured those guys were the same because that's the same actor, right? Esmeralda and Gabriel. Oh, that's from Death Proof. I think I never saw that. What's next? Donnie
and Lee Donowitz.
Oh yeah, True
That's
Romance.
A good one.
Lee Donowitz. That's a good one. The Donowitz. Yeah.
Bear Jew.
What's the next one? The English Pete and Archie. Okay. English Pete is from Django, and Archie is from.
English Pete is Hateful Eight.
Oh, Hateful Eight. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking he's one of the background guys.
And then what do you call it?
Archie's from Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards.
He's
That's
the one.
one.
It's Michael. What's his name? Plays him. Michael
Fassbender.
Fassbender, who's fantastic as that guy.
So yeah, what a fucking scene that is.
It's such a great. He goes, well, if this is it, old chap,
the one we all
you
knew
mind
this
if
one.
I'm
Vic and
if I
Vincent.
go out speaking the kings?
Yeah.
And then Vic and
Vincent.
yeah. So yeah, he has that in mind. It's all the same.
I love that.
It's all one big universe. So also, wasn't there a theory that the Kill Bill is the pilot that Uma Thurman talks about in maybe it's not because it's not the same exact, but the pilot that she says she's part of in Pulp Fiction, it is Kill Bill is like along those lines. It's like she talks about the 5
Fox Force 5.
Fox Force 5, but it's yeah. So
I never heard that. I'm having trouble finding the connection. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, she talked about what the different women did, and I think it aligns with a couple of the different women as part of the Kill Bill ones.
Bill's crew,
the one she goes through. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's fun.
Because she says at one point one of them was great with explosives, and I think it's Daryl Hannah. I think she blows up the church. It's like one of those kind of things. Like
French Fox,
but it might be loosely based. It might be loosely based. I love
French
that
Fox.
stuff.
Her specialty was sex.
I love that stuff.
Oh yeah, because that would have been Sophie.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys know, I would love to hear more. Doesn't have to even be Tarantino movie connections. Any movie universe connections that nobody knows about that anybody picked up, tweeted us at the DYM podcast or Instagram message us or whatever, or tag us in a story on Instagram with the clip. Let us know because I love this stuff. I would love to hear more movie connections because it makes me get so much more into the movie.
Yes. I would also love to know the movies that you guys were making love to as well. That's what I'm interested in also. It's a fun topic. Usually if you're trying to get amorous with a lady, sometimes you throw on a movie and that leads. It's the classic.
Does Buster have one? Buster, do you have one that you remember where you're getting distracted by the TV show or movie, and then the lady wants you to pay attention to her and her prowess and her
not even getting distracted, just something you have a famous lead into, something like that. Because sometimes you'll bring a lady home, hey, we'll throw on a movie. You throw the lights out, and
Recently, a woman had Modern Family on. It was just very distracting.
Well, a brilliantly written show. Brilliantly written show. I could see why you'd be distracted. Also, let's be honest. You have to follow Modern Family. You have to like the language. The jokes are within the It's not Big Bang Theory. Let's put it that way.
These two gay guys adopting an Asian girl. He goes, "Can you believe what this world's coming to?"
Yeah, that's what you found out.
Political reasons. That's why you can't concentrate.
That's when you found out the girl you're dating is racist. She's just come on.
This is just disgusting.
Come on with all this gay stuff. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? You're just. Well, Andrew Fiori, this was an absolute pleasure to see you, my friend. Can you tell the people where they can find the podcast? I just said it, but I'd like to reiterate it.
Reiterate. I love a reiteration. You can find us anywhere. Find iTunes. Podcasts are sold, and even though this one's for free, wherever you guys do it, Spotify, iTunes, however you find, just type in the DYM podcast in the old Google search machine there, and our names should pop up with our ugly mugs, Mug Costanza. So you can always follow us at the DYM podcast on social media, and you can follow my good pal Shawnee at Shawnee Time, and you can check out his show Celebrate on SiriusXM channel 99 Raw Dog Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And you want me to? I'll do the whole thing this week if you want.
Yeah, I know. I would like to tell them they can check out your show Thursdays at 4 p.m. It's called The Raw Report. It's hilarious. 4 p.m. Same channel, Raw Dog 99. Take a listen to those shows. Take a listen to the backlog blog of episodes we have for the podcast. We've been doing this for a while. Let us know what you think about the show at the DYM podcast. Also, thank you to the Laugh Button. That's at the Laugh Button. All your social media. Follow them. They give you all sorts of updates on comedy and album tapings or albums that are coming out. A whole bunch of comedy related material that you can follow on the social medias.
Comedy
and
Hub.
hit up the Buster Palmies. The guy hit up the I think it's at Mike V Suarez, right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
At Mike V Suarez on your Instagram and on your Twitter, I believe. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.